Meanwhile, in the human world, inside a sleek office, Yu Jinho was furiously clicking his mouse, frustration all over his face. These damn haters, his eyes scanned the comments on the screen. The things they say about my big bro, I'm speechless. Despite all the insults and ridiculous criticism, he still hadn't found a single piece of info about Hong So-yeon. He let out a frustrated sigh. The workload today was intense, but he couldn't stop now. Suddenly, the office door opened. Sung Jinwoo stepped in calmly. Trouble? He asked, noticing the tension on Jinho's face. The younger man quickly hid the screen and forced a smile. Nah, it's all good, nothing to worry about. But then his eyes widened. Sung was carrying a backpack stuffed with mana crystals. He had just come from a gate and brought back a ridiculous amount of the valuable resource. Is that all of it? Jinho stammered. Stunned, Jinwoo simply smiled. With this, we'll have enough money to start the guild. Jinho swallowed hard. Just another day alongside the world's strongest hunter. These weren't ordinary mana crystals, they were high grade. No doubt, Sung Jinwoo had just come from a high-ranking gate. Yu Jinho stared at the crystal-filled backpack, completely awestruck. This is amazing. With that haul, they wouldn't have to worry about paying the guild staff, but there was still one problem. We still need one more member to officially register the guild. Jinwoo understood immediately. To formally establish a guild, you needed 3 members, a president, a vice president, and at least one subordinate. Even if that third person was just filling a spot, it'd be much better if they found someone who actually worked hard. Spending more time on recruitment wouldn't be a waste. Then Jinho's eyes lit up with realization. Wait, there's something really important we still haven't decided. Jinwoo raised an eyebrow, surprised by the sudden seriousness. What? Jinho crossed his arms and replied with a voice full of authority. We haven't picked a name for our guild. Jinwoo sighed. To him, that wasn't exactly a top priority. But Jinho strongly disagreed. The name is super important. We need something memorable. He started rattling off ideas. What if we call it the Holy Oil Guild? Jinwoo raised an eyebrow. What? Okay, how about the Friendship Guild? Jinwoo rolled his eyes. Sounds like an elementary school club. Jinho snapped his fingers, excited by another idea. I got it. What about the Jin Guild? Jin, yeah. It's a mix of Yu Jinho and Sung Jinwoo. Isn't it genius? Jinwoo just sighed. He wasn't in the mood to argue. He had another idea. I think we should name it after our neighborhood. Jinho's face went pale. What? He nearly fell backward. This had to be a joke. There were just some things his big bro clearly wasn't good at. And naming stuff was definitely one of them. But before they could keep arguing, someone knocked on the office door. Jinho went to answer it and froze. It was Rae-In. The strongest female hunter in Korea. Jinho gulped and tried to speak, but the words caught in his throat. Jinwoo walked over, curious. What are you doing here? Rae-In met his eyes directly and said without hesitation, I want to join your guild. Silence filled the room. The strongest female hunter in Korea wanted to join the guild of the world's strongest hunter. It was a surprising request. Now the question was, how would Jinwoo respond? Rae-In held his gaze, repeating with firm resolve, I want to join your guild. Jinwoo stared at her for a few seconds, as if trying to understand her true motives. Something about the way she asked bothered him. He narrowed his eyes, skeptical. Did Chairman Go Gun-hee send you here? Surprised, Rae-In's eyes widened. What? Of course not. Jinwoo kept his gaze steady, still not fully convinced. So, was it Choi Jong-in? Did he kick you out of the Hunters Guild? Of course not. She shot back, clearly confused by his line of questioning. Crossing his arms, Jinwoo tried to make sense of the situation. Then why would you want to join the Sopayo Guild? Rae-In blinked, baffled. Sopayo Guild? The name sounded completely foreign to her. Jinwoo just nodded like it was obvious. Yeah, that's the name the vice president and I picked. Got a problem with it? The look of shock on Cha Hae-in's face was unmistakable. Beside them, Yoo Jin-ho, who had been silently following the conversation, suddenly screamed, "What? What do you mean? We haven't even picked a name yet." Jinwoo simply shrugged. "I was just trying to break the ice." Yoo Jin-ho threw his hands on his head, completely overwhelmed. This was chaos. Meanwhile, Cha Hae-in tried to keep her composure, though her mind was spiraling. Pulse. Breathing hard. "I'm trying to stay calm, but I know you can sense it." Her cheeks turned slightly red. She was nervous. Her breathing was uneven and her heartbeat was off rhythm. And still, Sung Jin-woo couldn't figure out why she was so determined to join his guild. Finally, he broke the silence. "From what I know, it hasn't even been 2 years since your awakening. Your contract with the Hunters Guild is still valid, right?" Cha Hae-in took a deep breath and answered firmly, "I have the resources to pay the cancellation fee myself." Jinwoo's eyes widened in surprise. She was really willing to pay the penalty with her own money just to join him? He hesitated for a moment before replying, "Our guild can't offer you a contract that matches your level." Hunter Cha Hae-in, but to his surprise, she didn't even pause before responding, "That doesn't matter." After a brief pause, she added with unwavering eyes, "It's fine. I can contribute even without a formal contract." The room fell into a thick silence. Sung Jin-woo studied her closely, trying to understand the real reason behind her request. Why would someone at her level do this? She was willing to join without asking for anything in return. Jinwoo narrowed his eyes, intrigued. "You really want to join my guild that badly?" He paused, then continued, "But it wouldn't benefit you in any way." Cha Hae-in hesitated. How could she explain something so hard to put into words? If she said it was because Jin-woo smelled nice, it would sound absolutely insane, but it was the truth. With her heightened sense of smell, she'd always been sensitive to the mana scent of other hunters, and most of the time, their scent was unbearable. Except for Jin-woo, from the moment they first met, something inside her had been drawn to him. Even when he was just an E-rank hunter working as a miner in dungeons, she couldn't ignore him. Driven by curiosity, she began gathering information on him through her own contacts. At first, it was nothing more than curiosity. But the more she learned, the more fascinated she became. Sung Jin-woo was, by far, the most skilled fighter among all hunters. He surpassed others in strength, speed, technique, everything. And on top of that, he had summoning abilities. No one really knew how many soldiers Jin-woo could command. Cha Hae-in had closely followed the controversy surrounding Lee Min-sung's debut press conference. Min-sung, a rank a hunter and popular idol, was the pride of the Reapers Guild. His public introduction was supposed to be a spectacle, but it all came crashing down the moment Jin-woo showed up. Within seconds, he stole the spotlight and wrecked the event. The internet exploded with hate and criticism, but Cha Hae-in wasn't surprised. As an S-rank hunter herself, she knew how cruel and unfair public judgment could be. Still, deep down, she felt it. Sung Jin-woo wasn't a bad person. Now, with the Jeju Island raid approaching, it was impossible not to feel anxious. Korea's S-rank hunters had been training alongside Japan's top hunters. During those sessions, Goto Ryuji ended up sparring with Sung Jin-woo. And the whole time Cha Hae-in never took her eyes off him. In the shadowy world she perceived, a realm where mana distorted vision and everything appeared in shades of gray, Jin-woo was the only color that stood out. Then came the battle against the Ant King. That's when everything changed. Faced with a terrifying creature, fear gripped her. Her body trembled, the enemy's blows were devastating. For a moment, she truly believed she wouldn't make it out alive. But then, the darkness shattered. Cha Hae-in awoke, slowly opening her eyes. She had been saved. At her side was Chairman Go Gun-hee. Disoriented, her voice came out as a whisper, Where are we?" Go Gun-hee looked at her calmly before replying, "We're on the helicopter. We'll be landing at the Hunter Association soon." After a short pause, He added, "I'll take you straight to the hospital once we arrive." Cha Hae-in turned toward him, anxious. "Did Hunter Sung Jin-woo come here?" The chairman let out a soft chuckle before confirming, "He did." In that moment, Cha Hae-in's face flushed red. Just as she thought, it hadn't been a hallucination. It wasn't a dream. She had truly been on the verge of death in that brutal fight. And if not for Sung Jin-woo, she wouldn't have survived. A deep thought crossed her mind. If I ever find myself in a situation I can't escape, what should I do? Now, back in Jin-woo's office, her heart was racing. She searched for the right words. But they hid from her. How am I supposed to say this? What Cha Hae-in truly wanted to say was simple. "I want to stay by your side until the very last moment of my life." But how could she say something like that out loud? Her face was so red it looked like it might burst. Deep down, all she really wanted was to remain close to Sung Jin-woo. But he still hadn't noticed a thing. There was something unspoken hanging in the air, something she was clearly trying to hide. Jin-woo studied her closely, trying to understand why she was so nervous. "Why aren't you answering?" The blush on Cha Hae-in's face deepened. It was obvious she was hiding something. "I have no idea what's going on in her head," Jin-woo thought. But one thing was certain, she had probably prepared a lot for this moment. Determined to break the silence, he pressed gently, "Can you tell me?" Cha Hae-in took a deep breath. "Comfortable, huh?" Jin-woo raised an eyebrow, confused, before anything else. "I'd like to feel comfortable here, may I?" He hesitated for a moment, then nodded, "Of course." Meanwhile, Yoo Jin-ho watched the scene with wide eyes and a lost expression. He leaned over and whispered to Jin-woo, "Big bro, why is an S-rank hunter acting like this?" Jin-woo thought for a moment. Cha Hae-in was probably around 22 or 23 years old. And yet, she already bore the weight of being one of Korea's most powerful hunters. Maybe that burden was exactly what made her so tense. Wanting to ease the mood, Jin-woo threw out a playful jab. "In my guild, we have an entry test." Cha Hae-in blinked in surprise. "Entry test? I've never heard of that." Jin-woo shrugged, playing it cool. "The vice leader keeps forgetting. It's a new rule we added recently." He turned to Jin-ho. "Hey, go get us some cookies and juice." Still confused, Jin-ho grumbled and left the room to carry out the task. Cha Hae-in, trying to keep up with the shift in tone, asked, "What kind of test are we talking about?" Jin-woo raised an eyebrow. Was she really taking this seriously? He stared at her for a moment, wondering if she was just playing along. Even so, he decided to go with it. "It's simple. You just need to defeat one of my summons." Cha Hae-in crossed her arms and raised a brow. "Are you underestimating me?" Jin-woo smirked slightly. "Not at all. I'll choose one of the strongest ones, just for you." Without hesitation, she accepted the challenge. Rising to her feet, she asked firmly, "And when is this test?" Jin-woo responded without hesitation. Right now, the Hunter Assocation's gym was far from where they were. Getting there the usual way would be a hassle. But then a thought crossed Jin-woo's mind. Maybe this is the perfect chance to test shadow exchange with someone else. He turned to Cha Hae-in and said, "I know a faster way to get there." She looked at him, confused. "What do you mean?" Jin-woo stepped closer and spoke calmly. "We need to be very close." Without any warning, he pulled her into an embrace. Cha Hae-in's face turned completely red, frozen in shock. She could barely react. In that moment, shadows began to rise and wrap around them. Jin-woo whispered, "Return." And within seconds, they vanished into the shadows. Not long after, Yoo Jin-ho returned to the office carrying a tray with cookies and juice. He stepped inside and stopped. Stunned, Jin-woo and Cha Hae-in were gone. In their place stood a high orc shadow soldier. The creature reached out, grabbed the tray, and devoured all the cookies in one go. Jin-ho stared, absolutely shocked. Who left you here?" The monster didn't answer. It just kept chewing on the plate. Jin-ho collapsed onto the couch. Defeated, "It's over for me." Meanwhile, at the gym, how did Sung Jin-woo even do that? Cha Hae-in still couldn't believe what had just happened. The shadow exchange ability didn't just allow Jinwoo to teleport himself, he'd now proven he could bring someone else along. Jinwoo smiled, satisfied. So it really works. His theory had been confirmed. Shadow exchange functioned like a portal. And even with a 3-hour cooldown, it could be used to cover vast distances, even across the globe, if needed. But now, there was a test to begin. He turned to Cha Hae-in and said, "It's time to start." She nodded but then remembered something. "I forgot my weapon." Jinwoo smirked, taking the chance to tease her. "You mean that pickaxe you used during the rank gate with the Hunter's Guild?" Cha Hae-in blushed instantly. That was an emergency. She protested, clearly flustered. Of course, that wasn't her real weapon. Jinwoo chuckled lightly. "I know, just messing with you." Still embarrassed, she sighed. "Fun. There should be a spare weapon in the storage room." Cha Hae-in pulled out her S-rank access card and unlocked the storage. Since they were in a facility meant for hunters, there were practice weapons available, not the highest grade, but decent enough for training. She walked through the shelves, scanning carefully until she selected a longsword. Now, she felt ready for battle. Jinwoo watched her and asked, "That going to be enough?" He knew it wasn't her usual weapon. Would it affect her performance? But Cha Hae-in answered with confidence, "It doesn't matter what I'm holding. Monsters don't care about my weapon." Jinwoo crossed his arms and nodded with a faint smile. "You're right." Still, as he assessed the situation, something became clear. If he summoned a soldier with strength equal to hers, the fight could end too quickly. So he made his decision. He'd choose the perfect summon for this battle. Igris. In that instant, a shadow rose before them. It was Igris, the most skilled swordsman among Jinwoo's soldiers. Cha Hae-in stared at the shadowy figure and asked seriously, "What are the rules to win?" "And to lose," Jinwoo answered calmly. "You win if you defeat my soldier. But if you surrender, that counts as a loss." He had mentioned using one of his strongest shadows, but bringing out barrier would have been too much. Overkill, maybe even traumatic. Igris was the perfect choice. "Let's begin," Jinwoo ordered. Cha Hae-in immediately focused her mana, and Jinwoo noticed it immediately. She really doesn't rely on her weapon. No matter what sword she wielded, Cha Hae-in's strength remained constant, solid, impressive. Jinwoo then summoned one of his most powerful weapons, the Demon King Baron's sword. He handed it to Igris. Now it was serious. The real duel was about to begin. Soon Jinwoo stepped into position as referee and gave the signal, "You may begin." Igris charged forward instantly, wielding the massive black blade, an S-rank weapon pulsing with Baron's power. With every swing, the sword triggered its special effect, White Flame Storm, a violent surge of lightning that tore through the air with explosive force. Without hesitation, Igris slashed downward with a lightning-charged strike. The devastating blow ripped through the space between them, headed straight for Cha Hae-in, but she reacted in the blink of an eye. With superhuman agility, she narrowly dodged the deadly strike. Jinwoo nodded as he watched, as expected. Any ordinary hunter would have been wiped out instantly. But Cha Hae-in was far from ordinary. With fire in her eyes, she moved in. In a single swift motion, she swung her blade at Igris. It was precise, powerful, but Igris blocked it at the last second, sending out a thunderous clash as their swords collided. Meanwhile, across town, at the Hunter Association office, Chairman Go Gun-hee felt the ground shake slightly. He frowned, puzzled. The gym is shaking? He tried to recall if the space had been reserved for use that day. No scheduled bookings. Wasting no time, he picked up the phone and issued a direct command. "I want live access to the gym's surveillance feed right now." Seconds later, the live stream appeared on his monitor. His eyes widened when he saw Cha Hae-in and soon Jinwoo in the arena together. He slowly leaned back in his chair, thoughtful. Could it be the two of them? At that moment, he recalled the conversation he'd had with Cha Hae-in just after the Jeju Island raid. He continued watching the fight for a few more seconds, then made a decision: shut off all the cameras in the gym. On the other end of the line, The staff hesitated. "Sir, put in the report that we ran a routine inspection today. None of this was to be officially recorded." The intensity of the battle was so great that even Go Gun-hee's office was trembling. Behind him, the large framed map of Korea began to rattle loose from the wall. Back at the gym, Sung Jin-woo stood in stunned silence. Igris was being completely overwhelmed. Cha Hae-in was advancing with relentless ferocity. With one powerful, precise strike, she slammed him into the wall with a brutal, echoing impact. Igris fell, defeated. Jin-woo blinked, astonished. She really is unbelievable. Cha Hae-in, still in her fighting stance, was breathing heavily. "So this Black Knight was your strongest?" she asked. Jin-woo gave a slight smirk. "I still have one soldier stronger." She didn't hesitate for a second. "Then summon him now." Jin-woo narrowed his eyes, thinking carefully. Cha Hae-in, "You could get hurt," but she replied immediately, "I don't care." Her eyes burned with unwavering resolve. "I want to face that one." Jin-woo's expression shifted serious now. "So, you already know." She nodded. "I saw it with my own eyes," then added softly, "I watched the video too." Jin-woo let out a long breath. If this was what she truly wanted, he raised his hand. The shadows twisted thick and deep as night itself. And then a crushing presence filled the gym. Beru emerged from the darkness. The towering shadow ant appeared behind Jin-woo, radiating a wave of mana so intense it made the air hum with pressure. Cha Hae-in felt it immediately, a suffocating weight pressing down on her entire body. Her heart pounded wildly. She drew out every ounce of her magical energy, pushing it to the limit. Jin-woo looked at her one last time. "You're sure about this?" The final showdown was about to begin. The S-rank hunter and Sung Jin-woo's most powerful summon were about to collide. Thanks for watching until the end, and see you in the next video.